My name's Paul Murphy. I'm a Member of Parliament in Ireland for People Before Profit. I'm very sorry that I can't be there live today, but the organisers asked me to share some thoughts about the situation, the horror faced by the people of Gaza. Um, Obviously, what we've seen over the last couple of weeks is a deliberate punishment, really a criminal punishment of ordinary Palestinian people, men, women, and children on the ground, punishment by cutting funding for UNRWA. And I think that is punishment in response to Israel's genocide being called out on the world stage. It is a response to the case taken by South Africa at the International Court of Justice, and it's a response really to the preliminary findings of that International Court of Justice. So this, global alliance of Western imperialism, the biggest terrorists in the world who support Israel, have decided we're going to punish those who rely on aid. Over 2 million people in Gaza rely on the aid provided by UNRWA. They are now faced with even deepening horror, devastation than what they have faced over the last more than 3 months at this stage. And the threat of famine, widespread starvation, of disease is massively exacerbated by this criminal decision. And the Irish government, thankfully, has not cut funding. It has criticised the decision to cut funding. But we in the opposition, as socialists, are of course pushing them to go much further, to call out and actively oppose what Israel is doing, to call out and actively oppose the US support for what Israel is doing, and to argue at a European level for sanctions to be imposed, for Israel to be kicked out of the EU-Israel association agreement, to bring that agreement, which gives preferential access to Israeli goods into Europe, to an end. I think the agenda of the Israeli establishment is absolutely revealed by Netanyahu's response to the proposal for a 135-day ceasefire, describing the idea of such a ceasefire as delusional. So the reason he thinks it's delusional is because the Israeli establishment want to continue the war, want to continue the onslaught for as long as they feel is necessary to inflict as much terror as possible into the ordinary Palestinians, and to complete the new Nakba that they are effectively trying to impose now, to drive Palestinian people out of the Gaza Strip into the Sinai desert. That's their war aims, and they've openly declared it. That was the very damaging thing for the Israeli side at the International Court of Justice. Of course, Israel could not be doing what they're doing now without the support of Western imperialism, without the support of the US in particular. We know every year $3 or $4 billion is given in military aid to Israel, but this year the Biden administration is trying to push through more than additional $10 billion of military aid. Without the support of US imperialism, the occupation could not continue, the apartheid could not continue, the whole Israeli regime could not continue. So therefore, it's a key demand of the movement in Ireland to call this out, not to, in particular, there's a St. Patrick's Day is the National Irish Day, and every St. Patrick's Day, the Irish Taoiseach, the Prime Minister, goes to visit the US President, hands over a bowl of shamrock. It's kind of an opportunity for US presidents to curry favour with Irish Americans, particularly important for Joe Biden, who likes to speak about his Irish roots, and particularly important in the context of the election that Joe Biden is facing. So there's a very widespread demand now of the movement in Ireland that we have raised repeatedly in the Parliament, in the media, etc., to call on the Irish government to say we will not go to Washington on St. Patrick's Day. We will not be giving shamrocks to genocide Joe Biden. We won't be allowing him to use the kind of shine of Irishness for his own political benefit, as long as the US administration is supporting and financing a genocide that is currently happening in Gaza. So there's very broad support for that idea that they should not be going, no shamrocks for genocide Joe. Of course, the Irish government at the moment is continuing to do what they've done from the very, very start, which is to balance or attempt to balance between the demands from below, from ordinary people for solidarity with Palestinians, and balance that with keeping good relations with US imperialism. I mean, they allow the US Army to send millions of troops through Shannon Airport to the Middle East. They consider this to be a very important relationship and so on. So the movement is gathering pace to say do not go to the Irish government. It's also demanding the same of all the political parties. For example, the leader of Sinn Féin, Mary Lou McDonald, who has said, unfortunately, now that she will go. We're saying, and the movement is saying, don't go, don't be giving shamrocks, don't be giving, again, the sheen of Irishness to Joe Biden, and we must not stand by while the US is supporting this genocide and is absolutely complicit in it. So there are key things that we are fighting for, because I think the only way we'll be able to have a just, a lasting peace is on the basis of justice. And internationally, we have to build as strong a movement for Palestinian solidarity as possible. That means pressuring the Israeli regime to stop what it's doing, but it also means pressurizing our own governments to speak out clearly and to take clear actions.